Now, you might be thinking, it's just coffee, how bad could it be? Well, this wasn't just hot, it was dangerously scaldingly hot. The coffee, served between 180 and 190 degrees Fahrenheit, caused third-degree burns on over 6% of her body. Her groin, inner thighs, and buttocks were severely burned, requiring extensive skin grafts. Stella was hospitalized for 8 days, underwent painful debridement procedures, and was left with permanent scarring and disability for 2 years. This was not a minor inconvenience. It was a life-altering injury. Initially, Stella Lebec didn't want to sue. She wasn't looking for a lottery win. All she asked was for McDonald's to cover her medical expenses. It was this shockingly low offer that pushed Stella to seek legal help. Her lawyer tried to settle with McDonald's again, this time for $90,000. McDonald's refused. The case was going to trial. This is where things get really interesting. During the discovery phase of the lawsuit, Stella's legal team uncovered something astounding. In the 10 years leading up to Stella's incident, McDonald's had received over 700 reports of people, including infants, being burned by their coffee. 700 people had suffered injuries, some of them severe. And what did McDonald's do about it? Nothing. They knew their coffee was dangerously hot. Their own quality assurance manager testified that, based on their own research, their coffee, if spilled, would cause third-degree burns in 2 to 7 seconds. Why keep it so hot? The company argued that customers wanted it that way, to ensure it was still hot when they got to their destination. But the evidence showed that McDonald's had made a calculated decision. They knew their coffee was burning people, but they decided that settling the occasional burn claim was cheaper than changing their company-wide policy and potentially affecting coffee sales. Think about that. A multi-billion-dollar corporation knew its product was causing horrific injuries, but chose to continue the practice because it was more profitable. It was a conscious disregard for the safety of its customers. The trial itself was a revelation. The jury saw the graphic photos of Stella's burns. They heard testimony from burn experts. They learned about the 700 previous complaints. They were shown internal McDonald's documents admitting the danger. It became clear that this wasn't a frivolous lawsuit. It was about holding a corporation accountable for its dangerous practices. The jury, composed of regular citizens like you and me, was initially skeptical. They, too, had heard the jokes and probably thought it was a silly case. But after hearing all the evidence, they were outraged. They didn't just see a clumsy old woman. They saw a corporate giant that willfully ignored a known danger to its customers. So, what was the verdict? The jury found McDonald's was 80% responsible for the incident, and Stella was 20% responsible. But here's the part that made headlines: the punitive damages. Punitive damages are not meant to compensate the victim. They're designed to punish the defendant and deter them and others from similar conduct in the future. The jury wanted to send a message to McDonald's and every other corporation, a message that you cannot put profits ahead of people's safety. They decided to award Stella Lebec $2.7 million in punitive damages. Where did that number come from? It was the equivalent of roughly 2 days of McDonald's coffee sales worldwide. It was a figure designed to get the attention of the corporate board. Now, did Stella Lebec walk away a multimillionaire? No. The media circus that followed rarely mentioned this part. So why do we all remember this story so differently? It was a masterful and arguably malicious PR campaign. Corporate interest groups and media pundits seized on the woman wins millions for spilling coffee on herself. Headline: it was the perfect story to fuel the narrative of a broken legal system and frivolous lawsuits. Talk shows, comedians, and news reports all painted Stella as a greedy opportunist. The truth, the 700 previous burns, the skin grafts, the corporate indifference, was lost in the noise. The story of Stella Lebec is not a comedy. It's a tragedy with a powerful lesson. It's a story of a brave grandmother who, in her late 70s, took on one of the world's biggest corporations, not for greed, but for justice. She endured not only horrific physical pain, but also public ridicule, all to hold a company accountable. The next time you hear someone joke about the McDonald's coffee lawsuit, you can tell them the real story. The story of a company that knew it was hurting people and didn't care. And the jury that stood up and said, no more. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the David versus Goliath battles can be won, and that the fight for accountability is always worth it. Thank you so much for watching and for taking the time to learn the truth behind the headlines. If you found this story as compelling as I did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories you thought you knew. See you next time.